Hi everyone, this is Jackie Robinson. Previously, I walked you through the DocAppender feature for Google Forms, and I'm now adding on to that the conditional formatting that will make it a little bit easier to view at a glance how the students have done in the different tasks. So you can see here I have a form that I have 24 responses in already. I can view those by clicking on the responses and going through them each individually, or I can launch the spreadsheet from here. So I've already done that. So I'm going to open up the spreadsheet, and you can see I have all of my students in under the student column, and then I have their different levels that they've achieved. So I have accuracy, consistent intonation, and executes markings effectively. I just threw an A into the comment field just for the purposes of this, but normally I would go and type the full thing. So at this point, in order to use the conditional formatting, what we're going to do is we're going to freeze the top row. So freezing the top row allows you to scroll and you don't lose this here. So you always know which column you're looking at. So you're going to highlight your row, and then you're going to go up to View, Freeze, and one row. And now when you scroll, you can see how the top row stays while everything else moves. This is a handy feature. You can freeze multiple rows, multiple columns, whatever you would like. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the columns that have the data that we're looking at, so the different levels. What you're going to do from here is go to Format, and then down to Conditional Formatting. And you should have a window pop up over here. What you're going to do is change the format rules, and this is going to manipulate the spreadsheet and allow you to do what you want with it. So you're going to go to under Format Rules, which is over here. You're going to choose Format Cells if text contains, and then we're going to put in our first condition. And in this case, we're going to choose level 1. So you can see how now only the level 1s are highlighted. So I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to put red. These are my students that are not meeting expectations. They're not progressing to meet expectations. So these are the ones that are going to need a lot of extra support. So I'm going to go right down to the bottom here and add another rule. Text contains, I'm just going to change this to level 2. And I'm going to change, let's say, to orange. And what's nice about this is if you look at it and think, you know what, I'm going to go to yellow instead, that's fine. It allows you to do that quite easily. Now you're going to go down to add another rule. And text contains, you're going to leave, and you're going to change to level 3. And I'm going to do green here. They're meeting expectations. And then on your last block, you can either leave it blank, or just because I like color, I'm going to change it to, let's say, pink. And this is going to be my level 4s. Now, I don't like how that looks with the red. It's kind of hard to distinguish between the two. So I'm going to change it. And I'm going to go very different, and we'll go with the blue. Now, once you've completed adding all your conditions in and it's all colored, you click Done. And now you can close this box here, this window. However, if you make a mistake, you can very easily remove rules and then add them again. The first few times I did this process, I had to do that. So now I'm going to close this out. And then the last thing I'm going to do, this is handy. I can see that, for example, on my first assessment, which is this section here, I can see that most kids had their note accuracy was pretty strong, a little bit varied for the consistent intonation, and probably half of them did really well for executing markings, and the other half needs some attention. but it's hard to get a sense of how the student is doing overall over a long-term period by looking at this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to format the sheet again so that I can see by student. So I'm going to click on the student name column at the top here, and then I'm going to click on the drop down, and I'm going to sort my sheet from A to Z. So this is just putting it alphabetically because that's how I'm going to enter my marks. I like things alphabetical. Now I just see Chandler, my first student here, and I can see that for the most part, he's landing in the green. So when I'm giving a mark for observation, I'm going to tend to go with a level 3 mark because yes, there are some outliers here, and those will probably even out and change as he progresses. But for now, he's pretty consistently a level 3. If I go down to Rachel, for example, Rachel's not doing so hot. So she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 level 1s, and she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 level 2s. So she's going to be somewhere between level 1 and level 2, maybe level 1.5 if you're doing half levels. But that gives you a good idea of how she's doing. And then we can look at someone completely different. Down here, we have Joey, and Joey's basically a level 4 across the board with a few exceptions. So when I'm putting that mark in, it's going to be a pretty consistent level 4. You can see over time now at a glance how the student is doing. You don't have to count up the individual levels, which is very handy. And you can also share just certain cells with your students so that they can see what their grade is at that point. So hopefully this helps with the DocAppender and how to manipulate your spreadsheet. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the box below, or you can send me an email, and the email will be below as well.